Hello and welcome to this week's Comics Pals Reviews. Today, the review crew consists of myself, of course, joined by Pete,
Yo.
Marco,
Hello.
and no longer a guest, that's why he's last, Tyler.
Hey, I lost
You're not
my
special anymore.
Yeah, I'm not special
No,
anymore.
I told you, it was
Oh.
1 week only. 1 week.
Sounds
Now you're
exactly
just-
what my dad told me.
I'm Sean, and we are here to bring you guys 4 of the hottest
Count
book
'em.
reviews. 4, the big 4. We've got 3 DC and just 1 Marvel this week. We're going to be talking about Static, number 2. We've got Infinite Frontier, number 3. We've got Strange Adventures, number 11, coming to a close next time. And the finale of Beta Ray Bill with number 5.
It hurts. It hurts so bad.
Yep. But it was so good.
Oh yeah. Spoiler
Yes,
alert. That
yeah.
book's great every
I
time.
like how we start off the show now. That's just going to be anxiety for me each start of every review show that we do. It's like, oh, how is Sean going to hold these comics this time?
Oh, man, yeah. Listen, if you
I
want
just
to
close
hold
my
up,
eyes.
if you want to hold up the digital version, that's cool too. I mean, it doesn't look as good, but
It does. I mean, for the camera, no, it doesn't. It's just a glare. I tried showing you guys pictures on my phone before we started recording, and you just see Marco's face in the reflection. Like, no offense, Marco. I don't think people need to see 2 of you on this recording. So
no, but it's frankly better than what you were showing us.
that is true. Yep.
Yeah. We're going to start with Static number 2. But before we get into that, I do want to let you guys know where you can find us all over the internet. Of course, we are the Comics Pals. Make sure you leave us a follow, rating, and a review wherever it is that you're listening to us. If that happens to be YouTube, subscribe to the channel for free, like the video, share it with your friends, and hit the notification bell so that you can be made aware of when we drop new content. All of that is free to do, and it helps us out a lot more than it costs you. Listen to our main show, The Comics Pals, which drops every single Monday. This past week, we actually had on Sal from Comic Pop. So if you're a fan of that show, listen to that because we had a really good conversation. I had a blast, and I think you guys will enjoy it. On that show, though, we do interviews with other guests as well, comic creators, etc., and we talk about the news of the week. And if you want reviews of Image Comics, those drop every single Wednesday. So tune on over to that and you will get those reviews. With that out of the way, let's talk about Static number 2. This was a scorcher.
Ah.
A real barn burner, as they say, of an issue.
Phil?
You started to get some real static with me there, Sean. Like,
We got. Or would you say we have heat?
Jesus.
We can do it all day. This is, of course, written by Vita Ayala with layouts, as they're calling them, by Chris Cross, with finishes and colors by Nicholas Draper Ivy. Very interesting how the credits are.
There were colors?
no.
Okay.
And then, of course, the letters by Anworld Design. So I think all of us were hot on the first issue of this. Tyler, you weren't here for that, but we all said that we loved Vita's script, that the scripting was great, and felt like Nicholas Draper Ivy was a breakout star through that first issue.
Absolutely.
So what did you think of the first one, and how did you feel about this follow-up, Tyler?
Me, I'll be honest, didn't much care for it. This like the script is fine. Like, I enjoy the script. It seems it doesn't fall into that hole that I feel like a lot of the quote unquote young superhero books that are currently written either at DC or Marvel, where they feel like just teens written by older white dudes. Like, this feels more, modern and, actually realistic. So the script is fine. I have no issue with the script. I just don't care much for the crisscross art. It seems
It's not Chris Cross's art.
it's layouts. It's layouts.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
don't like the layouts.
Yeah. It just seems like an unfinished product. And it's not really like the 2 sides that are contributing on the art aren't really completing a full package for me.
Interesting.
And I think with the colors for it, I mean, especially in this issue, there's a lot of the colors add a real mood to the book, especially I think in the post house burning scenes when they're like in the not real wreckage of the house, but they're in the house that's been burned down and everything's in deep purples and oranges. Like it's good, but it's literally like I feel like just one color. Like it's super. It's almost too flat for me, and
Interesting.
I can still see the pencils in the background. Like I don't know, it just seems incomplete in a way. Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of the art, to be honest. Honestly, like if we weren't reading Static 2, like after reading Static 1, I probably wouldn't have picked up number 2, to be honest. I
Wow.
also don't have much of a history with Static either. So I don't know where you guys land on that. Like Static, yeah, I watched the cartoon, but like outside of that, I've never really read a Static book before. So
I feel like I might have mentioned maybe in the show this past week that this issue needed to do kind of a lot to bring me in, and I kind of similar to Tyler. I don't think it did. The art I didn't have as much issue with, although the one thing was like the backgrounds. A lot of just what was going on in the back just felt flat and empty. We were just kind of all these characters were sort of experiencing these moments sort of in like a void, and that I didn't particularly enjoy in the art front. I did like the layouts. I like that sort of pencil and then you fill it in kind of look. It's prominently digital, and that's a style that I think I enjoy. But Ayala's script I think was a bit verbose at times. There were a few pages where there's just a lot of balloons plus captions, and I'm not like immediately interested uh, in the narrative here. Um, I feel for Virgil, I think, but I'm not connecting with his internal struggle right now. I don't feel like it's being communicated too well. Um, but I think I'm still on board, especially with how the cliffhanger sort of leaves us. I want to see what ends up happening. But I think I still need the work to be done to connect on sort of an emotional level.
Where do you stand, Pete?
I I definitely wouldn't say I felt as high on this issue as I did on the first issue. I think one of the things I really praised the first issue for was its pacing, and I think I definitely I see what Marco's saying in terms of the script being a little bit like chunkier. Like there's a lot of dialogue here. There's like a lot of exposition. It's laying a lot of groundwork. But I think because I liked the first issue so much, and because I do have like I loved the cartoon as a kid, and I really love Static. He's a character like I want to see get over. So like I'm carrying that energy into the book, for sure. But I think because like I was riding so high off that first one, like I'm more than happy for this issue to slow things down and start kind of laying foundational work for the rest of the series, right? Like getting an understanding of like the dynamic of the family a little bit more, and getting getting a sense for who Virgil's other friends are, and like what his history with them are. Like those are all things that I have faith are going to pay off later if I allow myself to invest in them now. So I think because the first issue was so quick, I don't mind us like taking the time to do a little bit of background legwork here and now. And on the art front, it's funny. All of the things that you two laid out as criticisms were things that really worked for me. I like that the backgrounds are like a little bit more muted because I feel like it makes the characters like stand out so much more. I feel like they pop a lot. And I feel like it's accentuating that kind of like anime influence style that it is kind of peppering in here throughout. So yeah, I mean like there are a lot of like bold colors or very simple like flat backgrounds, but I think for me that's a style that makes this book feel fresh and makes it look different than some of the other books that I'm pulling right now. And I'm appreciating it for that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm really enjoying this book and this story.
I'm glad.
I mean, I was always going to enjoy it from an art perspective because Nicholas Draper Ivy is a beast, and I just really like how he's been approaching this from a visual perspective, and actually, he's been really kind of critical of the whole process of working with Criss Cross and the way that he's being credited and the struggle that he has had to express himself visually through this book. If you follow on Instagram, you'll see a lot of that frustration coming out over there. Um, and I think you can see that, especially if you look at Nicholas's Instagram page and the kind of stuff that he works on for himself and the kind of stuff he's done in the past versus these layouts. These are pedestrian in comparison. Um, which, to be fair, I think, when you have a script that has this many words in it, you do have to kind of be a little more, you have to conform a little more with the way that the pages are laid out and stuff like that. But I don't think that the book suffers tremendously. Like, I'll point out a page that I don't think is particularly good, right? Like, it's this page right here. I'm holding it up on YouTube. And the reason I say that is because there's just too much happening, like, word wise, right?
Yeah.
And it's strangling the artwork. There's no doubt about it. But I feel like pages like that are few and far between. And I think that this issue had a lot of legwork to do, like Marco said, to kind of move things forward. And I do think it does that.
Yeah. Like, you look on the other side of this issue, right? And, like, I think it leaves us on another, like, interesting cliffhanger, right? Of, like, how is that going to play out? What is that going to mean? The way that, like, Virgil's carrying on, he's not going to have a secret identity for very long. And, I think we're going to see him get his costume next time, like we got the tease of that at the end of this issue. And I don't know, like, there's that kind of storyline going on in the background with this old friend, Daryl, and that was his name, right? D?
Yeah. Darius?
Darius?
I think it's
Darius.
Yeah. It's Darius.
And, Darius and him had that kind of conflict, and then you see that there is more to him than maybe Virgil was giving him credit for in that moment, and, or maybe not, I don't know, but, like, there's stuff going on, and, like, I already see myself finding things to connect with and hold on to,
Yeah. I mean, I like the problem that Static is having, right? Like, so his powers have now been revealed to his family, and they've directly caused some serious problems in the sense that they almost lost their home, which I kind of felt like that was a cop-out way to deal with the problem of the cliffhanger last week or last issue. I think that, to show us the house burning, but then it's like, oh, it's fine. It's just cosmetic.
Yeah.
I don't know about that one.
I didn't love that.
Yeah, it's fine. And then we see the inside of the house and everything is scorched and broken. I'm like, it's only a flesh wound for houses.
Yeah, I didn't love that, but Static is going through a lot, and he's got his family questioning him. This is causing, problems with his parents. I enjoy the family drama aspect of the book as well.
Yeah, and, like, when you think about a lot of teenage superhero books, like, usually the parents not knowing or finding out is, like, that's either, like, a core thing or it happens later, right? And to, like, kind of get that out in the open and have this book be more about the family dynamic and, like, how what he's doing is going to affect his parents and, like, their relationship, and, especially when we had that scene in the first issue where we see that they used to be, like, a very, very tight-knit family, and that, like, this kind of conflict isn't normal. That's obviously going to put a lot of weight on his shoulders, right?
Yeah, I'm still really enjoying this series.
Me too.
I think that this issue gave us more of a feel for what this book is going to be like. And I'm definitely happy to continue to read this all the way through to the end. It wasn't without its warts, but I do think this is a series with a lot of potential and promise.
Yeah.
Is this series making you excited for the rest of what's the verse
Icon?
called?
Milestone.
Yeah, Milestone
Not Icon.
books. I know Icon came out
Icon's
today.
the other.
Yeah.
I picked up Icon today. I'm excited to read it because I love the fact that this kind of like started a whole universe.
Mhm.
I'm actually mad that I wasn't able to pick up the Milestone Returns book because I would love to see what happened there. Oh, cat sighting.
Yeah.
For you YouTube watchers.
Here we go, buddy.
What's your cat's name, by the way?
This is Lieutenant Commander Jordy LaForge.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
Full name? That's
That's his whole thing. Yep.
Wow. Okay. Well, happy to have Mr. LaForge on board with us.
You see how he just like jumps over and just totally just knows where the camera is.
He's like,
Smart
here, I'm
boy.
ready to be a baby.
Yeah.
But I am excited for the rest of the universe. It's cool that it all kind of spun out of this one big event, and this feels like something that's happening.
Yeah.
I love it. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, the fact that this issue like kind of teased some of those other books and was like, oh, like, you know what was going on with Icon? I'm like, oh, I don't know what's going on, but I want to.
Yeah, good name drop.
You know, I was like, all right,
okay,
yeah. You know what? You got me, you son of a bitch.
By the way, just kind of anecdotally, I saw like a lot of Black people at Midtown today who were picking up Static,
Hell yeah.
Nice.
and
Cool.
that was awesome.
No, that's really. Do you have any history with the actual comic?
No,
Like,
I don't.
okay, yeah. For me, it's a blind spot for me.
Yeah.
For I think many people, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
mean-
think Static's popularity is really from the show,
Yeah.
and so many of us grew up having watched it. Like, I don't think I know anyone who never saw Static Shock.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's where some of my hesitation comes from this book too. Is like I'm so used to the cartoon where it's more lighthearted and funny and quippy. It's
Mhm.
essentially Spider-Man, you know. And this
I feel
book,
like this has such
isn't.
Spider-Man energy, though. Even the captions and stuff. I don't know.
I'm not really getting that. I mean, it's a serious book. I feel. I think it's taking itself too seriously. I don't think it's that far gone yet. But like,
Hey, you're right. Spider-Man's never serious. It's not like his origin story is his uncle getting murdered.
dude, are you reading the current stuff? Oof. Yeah, but
I do, you said taking itself too seriously. I feel like there's a smidge of that. Just a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a little bit. Not too much to like make me mad or
Sure.
turn me away, but just a smidge. I
Okay.
think it could be a little tiny bit more fun. Although there's a lot of bad stuff going on, but
Yeah.
the book doesn't have that character to take the heat off.
but also like
Sure.
the
Yeah.
teen coming of age superhero comic. At what point, like you gotta like, there's probably a fine line you have to walk before it's like, oh, this is just Spider-Man, you know?
Yeah,
Sure.
So
yeah.
I feel like that is something in the show that like it's very benefited by the Richie character. Like he's
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
a really good like comic relief sidekick, and I feel like this book could benefit from some more of that. Like maybe some
Yeah.
more of him bouncing off his friends and stuff.
it's like a Genki sort of thing going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. He needs
Okay.
his funny guy in the chair or something. Like
Yeah, I can see that.
Let's shift gears and talk about Infinite Frontier #3. This book was worked on by a lot of people. So we've got Joshua Williamson, of course, who wrote it. I want to say it's Paul Pelletier.
I believe that's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did Jeff Parker's Aquaman run?
Yes.
Yes,
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's good
call
stuff,
out.
dude.
That's
Yeah.
really good stuff.
I actually forgot about that one.
You're welcome.
I'm not gonna go
that's why
back.
we brought you up, Tyler, to the big leagues.
Jesus Moreno, Tom Derenick, Zermanico, they all did the pencils. We had Norm Rappand, Raul Fernandez, Tom Derenick again, and Zermanico on inks. Romulo Fajardo Jr. as the sole colorist, and Tom Napolitano as the sole letterer. Are you guys still feeling this?
This one, I was really losing steam on.
Yep.
I was like, this is
Really?
yeah.
Okay.
I found myself really bored by this. And I didn't think it like sucked. Like it wasn't a bad comic per se, but like I found myself really struggling to care about what was happening at this point, There's a lot of threads, and
Yeah, that's
like
true.
I just feel like we're spending so little time with each of them that I'm just like, yeah, okay, right. Like Green Lantern and his son are looking for his daughter, and then there's this other stuff going on, and what's now President Superman's? Okay, whatever. I don't know, whatever. Like it's not that it was hard to follow. It's just I don't feel like I'm terribly invested in any of these stories.
Yeah. I'm a little bit, I guess, in between Tyler and Pete. I think I'm still having fun. But this is the part where they're getting into more of, they're just introducing a lot of characters and or continuing to build on like whatever the loose threads that have been sort of laid out, and we're not seeing like progressions too much, like the whole Roy Harper and the Black Lantern thing. Okay, that's sort of going somewhere, but the path isn't too clear. We're still having Green Lantern and Obsidian searching, but like why, outside of we just want to know where she is, there needs to be like a little bit more meat, I think, on the bones for these individual threads. I think they're still working for me. But if next issue doesn't pay off, which I think it might, just based off of how it sort of ends, I might not be as interested in picking this book up anymore.
So for me, I'm notoriously a big Marvel guy. I have a Daredevil tattoo. Like I'm a big Marvel mark. But if there's one thing I will eat the shit out of, it's that was a poor turn of phrase. It's like DC event books, like Crises.
Yes,
I love that stuff. It's just like this flavor of comic book that like nothing can really mimic or imitate. And like this feels right to me. Like I love that there's so many different characters, and I'm like, oh, it's Magog. Oh, it's that Batman with the dome over his head that was in Multiversity, Machine Head. Like I love that stuff. This really feels like the stuff in DC that I like 52 or Brightest Day. It's not a weekly book, but it kind of has that feel to it that I'm really enjoying. And the fact that it's bringing in, the Black Lanterns again, it's bringing in Psycho Pirate.
Is it though? Like that's why I think I'm frustrated. Is like it's bringing in Psycho Pirate. It showed us him 2 issues ago, and he hasn't done shit. And like I feel that way about kind of every like the whole Earth 22 thread of this issue is it is like the definition of this could have been an email. Like they go there and like talk shit and then touch a spaceship and leave.
Well, that's the thing about like Brightest Day, which I loved, or 52. Like you wouldn't pick up a thread again for like 4 issues. Like
yeah,
like,
fair enough.
Maybe I'm just more conditioned to that, and like I'm like, oh, I like how it's taking forever. I don't know. It's just like this certain flavor that I think Williamson is really hitting that I enjoy. It's just like my cup of tea. I do think the multiple artists again is maybe harkening back too closely to those books with all the artists. But the fact that there is at least one colorist helps it. If there were multiple colorists and everything like that, I think that would be a detriment. But at least there is this interweaving thread with the art that doesn't take me out of the book at least.
Yeah, the artists I don't think are too. They're not terribly dissimilar from each other. And I think like if they each had like were being colored by different people, I think the difference would be immediately noticeable from like page to page.
I don't think a DC house style exists. I don't think a house style really exists in comics anymore. But like this is probably as close to it as you can get. So
you don't think the X-Men line has a house style?
Maybe a little bit. I mean, I'm also reading like Wolverine and stuff too, and then that's a little different, like X-Force too. But
fair enough.
The outliers are a little different.
I agree with every single thing you said, Tyler. The problem is that I don't give a shit about most of these storylines. Like, I like, in principle, the type of story that this is. This is what I read comics for.
Mm-hmm.
but I just can't find myself caring about what Alan Scott and Obsidian are dealing with.
Is it
Like,
the story or the characters that you can't latch onto?
it's the story. Like if what they were dealing with was just really compelling, I'd be down. But they're looking for, their his daughter, and then obviously Obsidian's sister, and that's fine. But I don't care. Like I don't know. I don't really care. And like the stuff I was interested in, right, was like, okay, there was a crazy explosion last issue. Okay, now Chase is back. What the hell happened? Like I want to see that.
That's DEA shenanigans for you, though.
It is. It totally is.
I feel like with a book like this, like I've tricked my brain to be like, all right, stop caring. Does that make sense? Like I got to turn my brain off a little bit, especially when you get into all these different worlds and stuff like that. I'm like,
there's different worlds. Like,
there's a Superman, a rabbit. So
yes,
Captain Carrot's literally the best DC character. So
I don't deny that.
give me more Captain Carrot and less Roy Harper, Black Lantern. Black Arrow.
What if he can materialize a dead cat with his ring and start using that as a weapon again?
I'm not trying to see that.
No, okay, all right. Maybe I shouldn't talk about Roy Harper's dark moments.
I don't like Roy Harper, by the way.
Dude, he's a damaged character, and I don't think he's ever been written that well in a long, long time. And he's like a lovable idiot, and that's why I care about him.
Fair enough. Flash was here for like 2.5 seconds.
Just run.
That whole thing is cool visually. Like that, the idea of him like running in a Golden Age book, but he's like on a wheel, and he's like, that's a neat thing. That's a cool idea, but I think it's
sick.
I'm similarly frustrated by it though, because it's like, yeah, that's really cool, and what is that? Like, what's happening? Like, I would love to know, but I'm too busy watching Roy Harper get kidnapped or whatever. I don't know. Like, I just feel like it needs to go somewhere. Like, I was very interested in this book at the start, and this feels like a real, like, treading water type issue. Like, every one of the plots we pulled on was just like, what if we just nudge things a centimeter forward in every one of these storylines? And I just want a little bit more.
One thing to note, too, is we're halfway through this story.
Right.
Yes.
And, like, that's fucking ridiculous because nothing happens in this issue.
So, I think that's a little bit misleading just because this is leading into another story. Like, this is leading into an event. And Joshua Williamson has this entire, like, strategy. He's the guy right now. So these threads will probably not resolve here. They will probably carry over into the event. And these are the things that we kind of sort of need to know now for the event later. So I think that's a part of why they're doing it that way. I just feel like if you cut out one or two of these stories and focused and gave each other one another page or so, that would let it breathe more. And I think that's what it means.
Yeah.
I do have to say, I am excited to see what Joshua Williamson has in store for whatever his like event is. Like, I'm a big Williamson fan ever since like Ghosted at Image Comics. Like, I've enjoyed his work. And like, I would be so happy if I never see another goddamn death metal again. Like I just want to see what somebody else can do with, the larger DC universe. So I think Williamson is a good choice for that, especially based on, his previous run on Flash and stuff like that. So
he's clearly next at bat, and I think he's got the chops. I think that he enjoys in DC what DC fans enjoy in DC, if that makes sense. And that's the kind of person that I always want driving the ship at either big two. So I'm excited for that. I don't think that this is a stumble or anything like that. Like, anyone who's listening to this who isn't so familiar with his work, he is very talented. I point to the Flash series that he did, which I thought was amazing.
That was your favorite book for a while, right? When it was coming
That was
out?
my favorite book until it stopped. It was tremendous.
High praise.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
One of the last things I just wanted to mention, going back to that Flash page, I really think it's a lost opportunity that each of the individual Earths don't have a sort of artistic style like this, where you can segment each individual, like, oh, Earth 22 looks like X era, and Earth 0 looks like whatever modern comics, and it feels like there was a lot to be that could have been done. Once I saw that page, I'm like, oh damn, like this looks cool. Oh wait, why doesn't this bleed out into the rest of the world, knowing that we have this multiverse now, or this hyperverse now?
I think I didn't even think about that. I think that would be super cool if they did that.
I feel like it would be like, I think if the book was that artistically ambitious, I would care less about the fact that there was less going on too, because you'd just be like, wow, what a visual showcase this is. You know?
Are you saying like each world is its own
Style.
kind of art style?
Yeah, like
like Space Jam 2
or something.
Because, like, like, imagine if you go to Earth 22 and, like, we have this boring-ass conversation with Magog, but it looks like, it's painted and it looks like that world. Like,
Yeah.
Like, it looks like Alex Ross. Like,
yeah,
Kingdom
I mean,
Come
obviously,
style.
that would be fucking really hard.
I don't know if this book has that budget. I'm sorry. but
No. And by the way, if you
maybe
could
the event
feel-
will, but
if you could feel the paper stock on this book, like DC,
I'm hearing you feel it, Sean.
dude, it's rough. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. It's bad. Like, unfortunately, DC decided that some of their books are just gonna feel like shit, and this is a $5.
This is one of them, really?
Yeah.
See,
Compare
Joker
that-
would never feel this way.
Joker could never.
No,
Joker could never, and neither can Strange Adventures. I'm sorry. Strange Adventures feels amazing as well. Like, Infinite Frontier just feels bad to touch.
Damn.
The ads don't.
Oh, wait, so the ads are different paper?
That was actually a joke, but let's.
Okay. No, I was. It's been a while since I've felt the touch of a comic.
I was
book,
going to say,
so.
it's like, is it time for a word from our sponsors? Like, what?
Blue Chew is our sponsor.
One day. Everyone knows comic fans can't get it up. No, just kidding.
Oh my God, that would be so fucking funny.
If you're watching the YouTube, this drink is I could use some of that afterwards. So.
Do you have
By
one
the
glass
way-
of wine to get sleepy?
Hey, this is 2 old fashions in one glass. Okay, so
Last time we reviewed this book, I called out these what I feel are pretty shit ads for future DC comics or stories that are ongoing, and someone in our Discord called out, well, aren't they just ads? And yes, they absolutely
Turns out
are
they
just
were.
ads. They are, but I'm so sick and tired of seeing this page in every DC comic I open. I don't want to see Dr. Bones.
dude, it
or
looks like
Director
one of those.
Bones.
He looks like one of those biker T-shirts that has like the really specific
Pizza!
kind of like text on it. Like, you wouldn't mess with a 5-year veteran of motorcycle gangs that also does trucking on the side at an IHOP or a Denny's.
like these questions. Why have the blue and gold dynamic duo reunited?
I don't know. Let's read Blue and Gold. Like,
Who types that way?
skeleton
Who-
fingers.
Who is
A
the
little hard.
world's greatest fighter? I don't know. How are we gonna figure it out? Mortal Kombat? Like, what type
Yes!
of question is that?
Injustice.
Oh man. All right.
Wait, is the Injustice world part of this? Like, I'm waiting to see if we go there.
That would
Like,
be cool.
actually, that would be pretty cool.
That should be one of the Earths.
I
Yeah.
agree. I
Why
agree.
not? Let's talk about Strange Adventures number 11. This is the penultimate issue, and shit has really hit the fan.
Oh, yeah.
It's bad now.
Should I throw this old fashioned at one of you guys? I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
throw it in.
ready. I can use a drink.
it's got a coffee liqueur in it. It's pretty good.
Ooh.
This is by Tom King with Mitch Gerrits and Evan Shaner on art, which is pretty cool. They are an amazing team. How they didn't win any awards, and I was shocked by that. But
Were they nominated for it?
Yeah,
They
Yeah,
were.
for a couple.
Clayton Cowles doing letters. Great creative team. Great issue, I think.
I thought so too.
Very strong.
Tyler notably quiet on that.
How do I say this? I love Tom King work. No, I really like this. I like this a lot. Yeah, I'm a big fan of this.
Okay.
I have notoriously defended Tom King maybe a little too much, even throughout the entirety of his Batman run and everything he's done since Omega Men.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's good
really
stuff,
enjoy it.
yeah.
Sorry, I just got a text that distracted me. But yeah, that's
I don't
I
know.
mean-
I feel like he gets a bad rap. Like, he's definitely had some misses, but I feel like, my man still he still knows how to hit it. When
I enjoy his non-conventional approach to comic books, especially superhero comic books.
Yeah.
No matter if they're hit or miss, like they're always not what you really expected. So
Where do you stand on Heroes in Crisis
mm.
as a Tom
Let's
King
not
fan?
do this.
Let's not.
Oh
let's
my
not. We need
God.
to talk about Strange Adventures.
Oh
Tyler
my
is
God.
going to be on the main show this week. We can debate it.
Is that what the
That's the
show
main
should
topic.
be? Heroes
And
in
it's
Crisis
just Tyler.
retrospective.
I'll
Has it
mute-
been a year already?
I'm going to mute
Can we do like
everybody else, and just you can give your retrospective.
I don't know if I want to do that. There's certain things I can't come up with excuses for. So
Well, thankfully, you don't need excuses for this one. This was a really good issue. It gives us exactly what the finale of the last one promised, which is a straight up showdown between Alana and
between Adam Strange and
Adam.
Olivia Munn.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. And it was rough. Like, throughout most of the series, we all thought that she was the big bad.
Mhm.
And then it got flipped on us, and we picked up on it. I think it was issue 7 that was the really good one with the snow, where Mr. Terrific kind of realizes like, oh, she doesn't know anything about this.
Yep.
And here we are 4 issues later, and like she's throwing glasses of wine or of alcohol across the room trying to catch my man.
Slapping him with her bloody fucking hand multiple
Yeah.
times. Like,
If you follow Mitch Jarrett's on Twitter, he's a big whiskey guy. So like seeing him being able to draw that, I was like, oh, there you go, bud. That's some good
good
stuff.
for you, buddy.
You get to draw what you love, so that's nice.
Yeah. This was just straight up like a domestic dispute.
Yep.
Yeah. I
That
mean,
was the whole comic.
But it was like the
It was a good
climax.
domestic
It was a good domestic dispute, and
Yeah.
that like the climax, like everything finally boils over to the point where, like, you ever been at a friend's house and then like their parents or like they get into an argument with like their mom, and you're just kind of sitting there and you're like, oh fuck, what did I like? I'm just like, we're just trying to play Smash. Like I don't need this right now. This is what it felt like. You're sitting there. And
Fuck you,
watching-
mom.
Yeah. You're
Close
just
the
watching
door.
them go at it.
That's a great analogy.
It's a peek
I-
into
I-
Marco's childhood there. So
I feel you though, because it does feel like we're getting a peek into a very, very personal situation
yeah.
that is unfolding between these two characters who we've been living with for 11 issues, but in real time. And this is why I feel like comics need to be read this way. This has been for us years in the making. Like,
Yeah.
this book started coming out like over a year ago, and we're sitting with these characters, and it's like, damn, this is all falling apart.
Mm-hmm.
it seems like something we shouldn't be seeing. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Has this book had delays?
It's not only has it had delays, but I think it's bi-monthly, right?
I think it's regularly bi-monthly, and then
Okay.
so every time it misses a date, you're like, oh shit, like it's been 3 months between issues. Like,
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I really loved it. And then like the creepiest thing ever, but also something that I love dearly, is these like snow owl creatures.
those dudes are so fucking gangster. Like, they're so scary.
They have like bug arms and stuff.
Yeah, it's like, what if you take the scariest part of owls, which is just like when they like look like all tall and scary like that, and then gave them terrifying bug arms too. It's like, oh my god.
I don't know if I've ever said this on the show or to anyone here before, but the owl is my favorite animal. And
Really?
Yes. And
Big Harry Potter guy.
yeah, I love Harry Potter actually.
Okay, yeah.
And I think that's probably where it came from.
Okay.
But I love that owls can be depicted as truly creepy. Like,
Yeah.
and they are sometimes in
yeah.
real life. I saw a tweet the other day that showed these owls that look like aliens, alien owl babies. And I feel like when they grow up, they turn into these. Like, these are really scary.
Yo,
Sean, I can confirm. Owls don't turn into that. You don't have to worry about that.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah,
I'll
you're
say-
safe there.
the first time that they showed them when they were just like looming over them, it immediately made me think of fucking Wan Shi Tong from Avatar, like that just giant scary ass demon owl. Like, and then that scene where this motherfucker, they just showed the shadow of him eating the pickets. I was like, oh my god, like that is epic.
Yeah, they were cool.
It's weird, like the way Shaner drew those characters with like they're like they almost have like bug like arms and legs, and like it's static art, but like in my head I'm like, oh, they're moving like a Ray Harryhausen old movie, like with like the maquettes and models and stuff. I'm like, oh, this is creepy.
I'm just imagining them like skittering. Like
I love when art can give me a sense of motion, even though the actual art isn't moving. There's like a guttural feeling to it that I really enjoy. So
I love the shot where they're riding them, and there's the one that Alana's on, and like both of the arms are like up in the air, and you get a sense for like how they move, that they're not like legs. It's literally just like they have arms that are. It's so nasty. Like it's. Ugh.
I like how this book about political intrigue and families falling apart, and a guy pulling a laser gun on his wife, and what we're stuck on is owl people.
Those are the happy moments.
Look,
apparently.
that's the dynamicism that you get from comic books. Only in comics.
That's true. Yeah.
I wanted to say the praise that Tyler gave the art here, that it allows you to feel a sense of motion and time. That's like the highest praise I feel like you can give, or at least among the highest of praise that you can give comic book art, because that's not easy to do. And I think that the whole issue feels like that. The conflict between Alana and Adam definitely has that same type of feel to it, where I can visualize this entire argument happening, and you really have to give it up, because this feels real. It helps that Alana looks like a real person that we all know and can visualize in motion, because we've seen her move, but this feels like a thing you can see. It's so cool.
And I haven't been able to talk about this book on the show yet before, but like the juxtaposition between Mitch Gerards and Doc Shaner is genius.
Yeah.
They're both so good in so many different ways, but they're so different. And it really separates the book, but somehow works. It's like this weird like peanut butter and chocolate situation going on, where it's like, oh, you got your Mitch Gerards in my Doc Shaner. Oh, this is great. So
this was another example where like the color worked really, really well. Like just the first page where it's hot, it's like a tense situation, and then Adam gets slapped. The next page with the panel, he's just like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, you feel the heat, and then immediately cools down with the snow. Then you're in the snow, you're doing whatever, and then you're back on, like, it was like the fourth page where they're about to kiss. It's like a steamy moment, and then you're back into the heat of like this discussion. This is another place where like the colors do fabulous work, just interconnecting everything on the art front.
Now that you call that out, Marco, too, if you just look at the like the present day pages, right? Like, you go from the heat that you just described, right? And then you go to the next time that they're talking, and you start getting the injections of those cooler colors. Like, there's the greens and the blues. Yep. And then the next time, almost all the warmth is gone, because like the argument is cooling off, right? And where there's the thing where he goes, Jesus, give me that drink. Like, on that page, it's all blues, and it's like the yellows instead of the reds, because you can see that things are like the tenor of the conversation's changing. And like, as it gets, darker, right, when she calls him a coward, like, you can see that like it's starting to become like black gray. Like, it's really impressive work here.
What is the text thread between these two? Having to kind of coordinate this together? Like, it's nuts.
That's something that I really have loved about this book since the beginning, is that this feels like craft. This feels like several different creators working together to tell a whole story. This isn't as good without the artists. And I think that no disrespect to any other books, but like there are some books that you go, well, this could have been drawn by some other person and it'd be fine. The art is not the showcase here. This feels like everyone working on this is required to make this book what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I also wanted to point out, and this is something that I love how they use the 9-panel grid to do things like this and just structure in general. So you can see like they're having this, this big fight and they're using the 9-panel grid for that. And then on the next page, things are getting more chaotic. He's getting slapped. It breaks down to 5 panels. And then on the next page, now we're on 4 panels and it breaks down even further until we get to just the one panel, the big shot of him with the gun. Like it fell apart.
Whoa. Oh, okay, never mind. I thought it went in the reverse then in the other way. And I was like, no, okay.
Yeah, just masterful stuff.
Mm-hmm. The quick moments, it reminded me of when we were reading X-Men and that one issue where they're meeting the world leaders and it's a conversation, and like in order to keep the conversation flowing really well, you have to use the 9-panel because it's quick. You feel the movement and the tension in it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You look at like the last page, or I guess the second to last page, where you have that last 9-panel grid, and it's the 2 different styles being presented against each other, and it's like present day to past, and like you have it's past, present, past, present, past, present, and like the way that those checkerboard through until you get to like the final reveal, it's just like it feels like you're watching like camera work, like how hard the cuts are, it gives you that sense of like something that feels very cinematic,
It's also not babying the reader either. It's like, you guys can figure this out.
Right.
Like, especially with this series in general, the first 3 issues were I don't want to say a slog, but it was a little tricky understanding what the hell was going on. And I really like how there's payoff, like this is really gelling towards the end. And I think as a trade, this is going to be a fantastic book.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Agreed.
So we didn't even really talk about what happens. Man, Adam sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like how you can do that with this character too. Like,
yep.
I'm not to say that there aren't Adam Strange fans out there. They're probably long gone by now, but
hey, I like the book enough. I like him enough.
Like this characterization of him?
Oh, well, it's different.
Oh, okay. You just like the swashbuckling space hero kind of guy.
Yeah, that's good shit.
The Buck Rogers DC knockoff. Yeah.
Sure.
But like how he's that character, you can kind of just do whatever the hell what you want with. Like he's recognizable enough where everyone's like, oh yeah, it's Adam Strange. But also like malleable enough where you can do something this drastic with the character. And it's a good choice.
But my only thing with that is this is the Black Label book, so presumably it's not canon.
Yeah.
Which kind of sucks because it would be really cool if this mattered in that way, and it, by all accounts, it doesn't.
They can make it if they want to, though, right?
They can, but didn't they blow up a city? Like they blew up Phoenix or something.
Wasn't this also though like
What's
announced before?
Phoenix,
yeah.
In the DC universe, right? Like they like fucking Parallax destroyed Coast City, right?
It's like a Marvel thing. It's a Marvel thing. No, but like, wasn't this announced before Black Label was announced? Like I feel like this wasn't always a Black Label book.
Wasn't
I could be wrong on that.
Wasn't like one of the launch titles?
I thought it was.
It might have been. I still don't understand the whole Black Label continuity thing. I don't think they even understand that. They kind of just pick and choose.
It looks like issue number 1 was a Black Label book.
Okay. All
right. Yeah. Adam sucks. He pulls out a gun on Alana, which is really
wild.
That's a laser beam.
My bad. And he pays the ultimate price. My man dies.
I mean, I'm glad it was him instead of her.
Well,
we don't know if he's dead yet. Yeah.
Hopefully. Self-righteous jackass.
She was coming for him though, like verbally, physically, like she wasn't playing games at all.
Yo, the fucking page where he pulls the gun on her, it's like the second time he does it, where he says, "Why can't you just fucking listen, please?" And she goes, that's a nice laser gun you've got there. What do you want to do with it? And she's fucking breathing smoke out of her nose like a fucking dragon. So awesome. She's
also
she looks
it's a Black
so
Label
intense.
book. Can't they just say fucking in it? Like
I was thinking it the entire time as I'm reading it, like filling in the words. I'm like, but they can say this. It's fine.
Like we've seen Batman's dick in a Black Label book. Why can't we see like a fuck word? Like
I think if that had never happened the way it went down, we would see things like that in Black Label.
Probably.
I think Black Label actually got ruined by that, but
ruined by one single phallic object.
The Batawang.
Singular dick. Yep.
I do like the panel where Adam dodges that cocktail like George Bush dodging a shoe. That was
Oh man. Go ahead, Marco.
Sorry, the last piece. I think I'm understanding what these quotes are. So this whole thing is like about like the lengths to which you will go to protect and to go to extremes for your family or for the people that you feel like are close to you and the people that you feel like are your family and you've connected with. And a lot of these quotes have been sort of reflections by these creators about either the difficulties of the industry, difficulties that they've had in general. And this one in particular, and I think the first one was like comics will break your heart or something. This one in particular was talking about how you have to make sacrifices for the art the same way that during the entirety of this book, Adam's been making sacrifices and continues to pay prices for these things. And that's what Al Feldstein says here in this blurb. So I'm wondering, and I want to go back just to read this text to see like if that's a continuous theme about like going to these extremes for the craft, and if he's trying to weave that sort of narrative of like to make a comic, you have to suffer through the artistic process, and some of these creators go through that. That's like the working theory, at least. I don't know if it jives, but.
Man, you said a mouthful, and I think I got what you were putting down. I'm fascinated to see if you go back and retroactively find out that you were correct. I don't like to, create bits during the show, but I want to just throw out there that I think it would be really cool if you did a retrospective on this series when it's over and dove into all that.
Can we do a Heroes in Crisis one at the same time, or
in tandem?
I'm waiting for your essay, Marco. I'd like it on my desk by Monday, please. No, I'm sorry, Monday after the last issue. Can't be. No, we're not done yet.
But what is done is Beta Ray Bill. This is the 5th and final issue.
It's my man, yo.
Nice.
Not only do you have the shirt,
You got the
but
fucking
you've got.
action.
I love Beta Ray Bill,
Legend.
man.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yo, I do too now. Beta Ray Bill fucking rules.
Yeah, it's great. He's just a horse with a hammer or a sword now. So
Daniel Warren Johnson did it all almost on this series, writer and artist, teaming up with Mike Spicer, a regular collaborator, on colors, and Joe Sabino teaming up with Johnson on letters for this finale. Boy, was this was a romp. This was very cool. What a hot finish.
I love this comic book. This was
I love it so much.
Fantastic.
So
book.
good.
I think it ended on such a goddamn high note.
This dude's just like hitting home runs and everything he does, and like people are just letting him do his thing, which it works. Wonder Woman, Dead Earth, Murder Falcon, and then this. It's like 3 different publishers are like, "Hey, you do good shit. Have fun.
Go crazy, bro.
Do your thing." Yeah.
I
And
mean,
he's killing it.
I think we talked about this, I think, during issue 1, but it's something that's definitely come up. I think it's a similar benefit to what you talked about with Adam Strange, where it's like Beta Ray Bill is a character that like is definitely not without fans or fanfare, but like he's a D-lister, right? Like he's not a marquee character. So I feel like having, somebody like a Daniel Warren Johnson who's got such a like fresh voice, who like has an idea for it, like, yeah, whatever, right? What the fuck? He's collecting dust. What else has Beta Ray Bill been in lately, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now instead, this was one of the fucking hottest books of the year, right? Like, I mean, put faith in somebody with that kind of talent. This is what you get, right?
I know. I talked about previously motion in art. Like, this guy's a pro at it.
Yep, everything
Dude,
about
Like,
it.
everything is
fight,
moving.
That fist fight that they get into.
That's a wrestling
That
match.
wrestling match.
Yeah, straight up. He
Literally.
like
There are parts of that fight that were taken out of a match I've seen. It's Shingo Takagi versus Kazuchika Okada, which happened at like Dominion this year, like earlier this year.
I love that you could place it.
Oh, dude, I'm reading. I'm like, yo, that was a fucking Rainmaker. He maintained wrist control. Like I'm seeing it, and then he hits him with the Last Dragon through a spike, and I'm like, yo,
Yeah.
and that's who won the match. Like,
when he did that, the first thing I thought was, I was like, I really hope that Tyler or Sean can tell me what this wrestling move is called, because this is clearly a wrestling
it's
move.
the Last Dragon. Yeah, it's Shingo Takagi's finisher. I had to I was like pouring over, and I'm like, I know this. What is this? No, I've talked to Danny Warren Johnson at New York Comic Con back when the world was normal about wrestling, and he's like, yeah, I want to try and put in as much stuff as I can, and then like seeing him do this, where there's literal beat for beat moments from probably one of the best wrestling matches of the year, this past year, in a Marvel comic book with a fight between Beta Ray Bill and Surtur. I'm like, what kind of world am I living in where this is happening? This is great. I love it.
And like the way that it's fucking presented too, it's like 50% wrestling match, 50% anime fight. Like, it's so fucking good.
Can we talk about the effects there though? When Beta Ray grabs his wrist, it says clutch. When he starts to apply the move, it says grapple. When he lifts him, it says hoist. When he jumps, it says jump. Like, that's so amazing.
It's so
Are those the inputs you put in when you're playing like WWE 2K20 or something like that?
Yes.
Or
I like the one where Pip, gets like gutted, and it just says pluck it. It's like, oh, so gross. Like,
yeah, I'm a sucker for good sound effects.
And the bomb where it just says teleport. Like, it's so fucking good. I love like how in the art that stuff is, like I love that it's a 50-50 with the lettering. It just makes it so much more dynamic,
It's just energy. That's all it is high octane energy.
And I love Mike Spicer's coloring.
Oh, amazing.
Like, he also did Murder Falcon, and like it's a similar kind of feeling, but the coloring is different on it. They're like, especially throughout this issue, there are some like weird choices that I think work. Like, there's like neon purples and neon blues that kind of just come out of nowhere, but it like helps you really focus in on the action that's in, like the bright reds and the dark browns and stuff like that. So it kind of, it both draws your eyes to that weird color choice, but then also draws them to what you should be actually reading and looking at in the book. So
I'm glad you brought that up, because my favorite moment of the issue, and it's like, it's a small moment, but I think that's why it's my favorite, is when Scuttlebutt hands Scourge the gun.
Yep,
and
I'm looking at the same panel right now.
It's just the little pink circle inlet, and he just has the single tear going down his face as he like leans out to grab it. And it's like, I think it's the only time that pink is used in like the whole issue,
Yeah.
And it's so dynamic against the rest of that page. It just pops.
So I just beat God of War, and
Right now we're doing a show, Sean.
That's how good he is.
They're on Muspelheim in this comic book, and you can go there in that game, and Surtur's not there. So when I picked this up, and I was like, oh shit, they're about to fight. I was like, oh man, I wish that was me playing as Kratos, or in this case, playing as Beta Ray Bill, fighting Surtur so I could get what I wanted in the game, but I didn't. Like, this was so awesome to read. And I don't know why the hell Surtur would lower himself to want to fight Beta Ray Bill at his size. Screw that.
I can tell you why.
Why?
Surtur, big New Japan Pro Wrestling fan.
Notoriously, yes.
Yeah. Big chaos guy, I think. Yeah.
Yes. But you know what? It took all of Beta Ray Bill's crew to stop him. So at least that there's that. I do feel like, to use a wrestling term, they buried the guy a little bit. But he is the villain, so you had to lose. It was so cool to watch that fight. I will say, I do feel like this issue was missing some of the emotional resonance that prior ones had, and I think it ends a little bit abruptly.
Yeah.
I thought that there would be a little more with Scuttlebutt and Beta. We didn't really get that. I think it needed to be a few more pages.
Yeah, I mean, I would have loved if this was a double long, because I don't want to lose any of the pages that we got. But I think we could have used a little bit more cooldown time.
Got like the ultra mega treatment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I will say, it does end super abruptly, but the fact that it ends the way it does, very, very much, I think, ties into the emotional core of this book that grabbed me early on, which was that Beta Ray Bill is really a tragic figure. And the fact that it's specifically, right? He's there, Pip wakes up and he says the thing, "You're whole again." He's like, "You're right, Pip. I couldn't be happier." Just holy shit. Him
and then he sees his hideous version in his reflection. So it's even though he's got what he wants, he's still,
it's internal.
Not there. Yeah.
Right. It's it's him. It's him that's the problem. And I don't know. It makes him a character that I really empathize with, and I wanna root for. I wanna see him, find something that makes him feel whole. And getting to the end of this, I'm like, Jesus Christ, I could read 100 more of these. Make this a monthly book yesterday. This fucking book is so good.
Yeah. I hope that Daniel Warren Johnson continues to do stuff with Marvel. I'm really curious as to what more they have to say within this universe. But I get the feeling that he likes the ability to kind of be a freelancer, like a free agent, and just tell stories wherever he feels like it. So this is my first exposure to him on a big, in a real way. I've seen his art, but this is my first time following one of his stories to completion. Same. And I absolutely want to do this again and again and again.
Yeah, I'm gonna go read Murder Falcon.
Yeah,
so good.
I'm in.
Wait, Pete, have you not read Murder Falcon?
Nope. This is my first. This is my first with him too.
Read that.
Yep.
Read that. It's what he the little nods that he has pro wrestling in this. It's that for metal music and Murder Falcon, but not even just metal. It's just music in general. It's great. It's real fun.
Wow, it's that. It really just pushing all Sean's buttons, huh?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, he's told me about ideas he has for indie books before, and some of the ideas he told me. I'm not gonna say them because obviously I don't know if he's pitched them anywhere, but they're fun ideas.
What are you, close personal friends?
No, but I literally I'm not a big talker at conventions with artists and stuff, but this dude was just so warm and infectious, and not the kind of infectious that New York Comic Con will be later this year. But his enthusiasm was infectious. And I'm kind of an impersonal dick at conventions. But being able to actually talk to someone and do something. And yeah, I got a sketch from him too and everything. So
really?
Dr. Doom. I got Dr. Doom.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, that's right. Yes. Okay. Damn. He's a nice guy.
I really want to get.
I will literally follow his work anywhere. Yeah.
This was my book of the week.
Yeah. Oh, fucking yeah.
Is that why it was the last book?
Week.
You want to end on a high note? Okay.
Well, I mean, frankly,
it worked out.
It worked out, yeah. Right? But this was incredible. I'm not bummed to see it go. I will say that. I love the fact that the story was what it needed to be. It seems like Daniel Warren Johnson got the time he needed to tell his story, and I'm happy that it resolved well. It's great, tremendous.
Yeah, I think if any, I agree with you. I'm glad that he got to tell the story he wanted to tell here, but I definitely do feel like I am sad that we won't pull it again. But he's got plenty of other work for me to go check out.
Lord knows when you'll pick up another Beta Ray Bill book again. So
I mean, if it doesn't have Danny Warren Johnson attached, probably not.
I don't think it'll even come out.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Well, we hope that you guys enjoyed this review as much as we enjoyed the book. Let us know if there are books that you want us to be pulling that we're not, because we're open to it. We love doing these reviews for you guys. So while you're thinking about us, make sure that you follow us, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel for free, hit the notification bell, all that good stuff. If you want to write to us, do so at thecomicspals@gmail.com. But a lot of you like to leave comments on the YouTube videos themselves. If you do that, you've got to listen to the main show every single Monday, because that's where we respond to all the comments that you guys drop for us. We really appreciate them. Keep them coming. Also, thank you for getting us to 400 subscribers. We are so, so grateful and thankful for that.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. Keep the support up. It means the world to us. Until next week, take care, guys.
See you next week.